The AFL Final Series begins this week. The top 8 teams have all had a week off, with the first of 4 games beginning on Thursday night. Let's bring in Nick Santo from Fox Footy. Nick, great to see you. Let's start with Thursday night footy. The Lions and Tigers at the Gabba. Brisbane ended the season in pretty ordinary form. Richmond had turned things around a bit. What's your sense of things?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's an exciting time of year, a month of football to go. We've had the weekend off. The AFLW season has launched during that period of time, and now we launch into the next month to finish off the men's season. And this is an intriguing matchup come Thursday night, and we reflect probably on recent form. And going back to a couple of weeks ago, the Brisbane Lions were really poor, didn't show up for the fight against the D's. There was clearly a lot of talk off the back of that about individuals and what was said and what wasn't said. So there's a sort of a story within a story, but the reality of this is coming into this weekend, none of that matters. The facts are that the Lions haven't been in good form. They put up a really poor showing a couple of weeks ago. And the Tigers, on the other hand, a ground that they won a premiership at only a couple of years ago. They know the ground very well. They're in really good form. So I expect Thursday night to be a really fiery match. And I'm going to just tip the Tigers as they get over the line.
Friday night at the MCG, Swans play the reigning premiers, Melbourne. It's really interesting, this bye before the finals. I thought teams like Melbourne, coming into some much anticipated form, probably not that keen on a week off. You're the one who's played at the highest level in this sport. What's your sense of it, the bye, and how that factors into games like this one?
Yeah, well, I've lived both. I was still playing a handful of years ago when they changed having no pre-finals bye to having the pre-finals bye. I think it's a sort of a blessing subtly for everybody. You get to this time of the year, no matter whether you're the D's or the Cats that have had extraordinary years, or you've just scraped in, for your own body, I think it's a really good thing. But you touch on a really good point, Kieran, is about that momentum, and it sort of can stop to a certain degree if you've had a really good last round. And you probably speak about the D's in that sense. I don't think any of that will play a huge part in this weekend's round of footballs. These guys are professional. They would have had a quieter weekend, being the weekend off, would have had some really good training, got some work done over that last 2 weeks. But as they roll up to the MCG on Friday night, I love what the Sydney Swans have done this year. I must say, I think they'll be better placed next year. Now, by saying that, I don't think they're not capable of winning it this year. They've got every chance like everybody else. They played some really good football. But whatever happens in the next month, I actually think the Swans will be better placed next year to have a launch with this young group coming through. It's going to be a great game Friday night. I'm just going to tip the Ds, just going to get the Ds over the line.
Speaking of great games, there's a mouth-watering contest looming at the G on Saturday afternoon. Geelong v the Pies, and Geelong has been the form season, team of the season, haven't they? How many straight? I think it's more than 12 now. Straight, they'd have to be the favourites, wouldn't they, going into this?
Yeah, they are. And they've been an incredible football team for a very long time. And you've got every right to forget how many they've won in a row, because they have been so successful again this year. And what this group, led by this man, Joel Selwood, for the last 12 to 15 years, it's just an exceptional run of form and success. And, can the Cats get it done? They haven't won a premiership since 2011. That's been well documented. But you have to respect their ability to put themselves in situation year after year. I love what they've done to their game style this year. A little bit more aggressive, ball in hand, yet it hasn't taken away at all from their team defence. They still minimise the opposition's threats. Now, the question for the Pies is, can they stand up on the big stage? They've been exceptional for the back half of the year, won so many games by under 1 goal. But a lot of those reasons why I think they win those games by under the goal is because their opposition on those weeks makes so many critical errors. I just can't see the Cats doing that come Saturday afternoon. They're too good, too experienced, they've got great leadership. I think it's the Cats that get it done.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. And how about this game, the Fremantle and the Dogs Saturday night? Do you give the Dogs any hope of an upset here?
I give everybody a chance. Now, the reality of it is, and the way that I feel is, I can't see it happening, Kieran. And I was in Tassie a couple of weeks ago watching the Dogs take on the Hawks. They got over the line and then they went back to a hotel before catching a flight home, and were able to watch the other game to realise that they just scraped into finals, which is a great story from where they were last year. Obviously, they played off in the grand final, didn't get the job done. I just can't see them twofold scoring enough to put the Dockers under a lot of pressure, but also their inability to minimise the opposition throughout the course of the year from kicking big scores has been difficult. A lot of the responsibility is on that man's shoulders, Aaron Norton, to kick them a winning score. You look at Marcus Bontempelli. I think their best players will have to play an absolute blinder to get them over the line come Saturday night.
Now, I've got to ask you about the AFLW season. Your coach at St Kilda, first one to feature all 18 teams. What have you made of the action so far? I tell you what, it's impressive. First of all, the standard right across the clubs that I've seen play, and also the crowd support has been huge, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's been probably the big takeaway from round one. There was a game at Marvel Stadium over the weekend. We played the Sydney Swans in their first game at North Sydney Hobart. I think there was just under 9,000 people there to watch their local team, being the Swans, go to work for the first time. And it's growing. There's no doubt about that, Kieran. The support has been enormous. I think the standard as a whole is growing year on year. You've got these highly talented young players coming through traditional pathways, or what we call traditional pathways for guys, academies, NAB leagues, junior leagues. And we've got young girls coming into the competition that are having instant impacts, which has been great to see. And we get to have 18 teams as well. So I think what we love to see from a purist perspective is it looks a lot like the men, and the performances are really improving year on year.
Yeah, outstanding. Nick, thank you so much. We'll look forward to speaking to you next week after week one of the finals. Big weekend looming.